I bet I can guess what you're going to ask me.
Go for it then. I won't even ask it.
Spent a lot of time with Paul Pierce this summer, which was great. He was really motivated. Paul actually lost 15 to 20 pounds. And it was about 4 weeks. He came to the gym every day. And it was cool to have him around. Told us a lot of stories about the championship team, a lot of things that can try to help apply to this year. And hopefully we see a lot more of Paul. Was that one of them?
That's it. Thank you. No, I was also going to ask you about Drew, too. Drew Holiday, your thoughts?
I was about to say that next. Excited about Drew, one of the most well-respected guys in the league. Great talent on both ends. Champion. We won a gold medal together. Happy to have him. Sad about, Malcolm and Rob. You spend so much time with guys and over 1 year or 5 years, right? And then one day they just, on a different team. It's tough because there's a lot of genuine, emotions and relationships with that. Same thing with Kristaps and that trade. Excited to have him. He adds a length to the team. Obviously, he can stretch the floor. His versatility, especially on the offensive end, protect the rim. But it was tough to see Grant and Smart leave. I spent my entire career thus far with Smart. That's somebody I thought I might have, played my entire career with. He was, the most beloved Celtic that we had on his team, the heart and soul. And, it's just going to be different not having him here, different on the court, different in the locker room. He was a big part of the culture. And same thing with Grant, It's going to be a little less quiet now. But I'm excited for him, his new deal, much deserved, and, new role that he was going to have. I'm happy for those guys, but, going to miss them for sure.
Jayson, on the wrist injury you've dealt with the last couple of years, I know you met with some specialists and, looked into surgery. Can you explain the decision that went into not undergoing surgery and kind of where that's at going into this year?
Yeah, just got a bunch of second, third, and fourth opinions. Surgery wasn't a common one, so, wasn't all the way certain about it, but, did all the right things this summer. Took all the right measures, I guess, to make sure I was healthy and prepared to come into this season, with no distractions.
And you and Jalen both said over the summer you want to make the all-defensive team. What's it going to take for both of you to get to that level?
Just that consistency night in and night out. We're going to have to win. We're going to have to be one of the best defensive teams. And, all those things we're capable of doing that. And, we just got to have attention to detail every single night on that side of the ball.
Jayson. Check. Jayson. You had some comments recently about feeling more connected to Boston. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. When I got here, I was 19, fresh out of college. I was starting in a new career, on a new team. I was, Deuce was going to be born in a few months. So it was a lot. And it was different. Like, I chose to go to Duke. I didn't necessarily choose Boston. So I always identified as, much more with St. Louis and with Duke, which I, feel is fair. But, when I think about it, I've spent almost 7 years here. Bought my first house in Boston, bought my first car. My son has grown up in Boston. So many great memories. A lot of relationships that I've built, in the organization and outside of the organization, people in Boston. And I think just over time, I would say I've more and more felt as, like I was a part of the city of Boston, rather than I did my first few years, just being so young and things like that.
What have you learned in 7 years that's unique or different than other NBA cities about Boston?
I mean, I haven't played for any other teams, but, I great deal of appreciation for the fans, for the support, through the ups and through the downs. Even when we travel and play on the road, our fans are truly the best. And, even when I see people, on the street, at a restaurant, at a gas station, the pride that they have about the city and about us, and it's mutual. And I really appreciate the people in the city of Boston.
Real quick, we see a lot of the heavy lifting, bulking up. What led to you going into the heavy lifting and trying to gain weight? Was there a situation or a moment where you said, you know what, I got to put on some more muscle, a little more weight?
I've always lifted heavier in the summer than I do in the regular season. I guess I have set some personal records in the weight room this summer, but, not like that much more than I did last season or last summer. I have put on like 12 pounds. And I think part of that is, I'm getting a little older and my body is maturing. I might lose some weight when the season starts, just when we start playing 4 times a week. I think, I've just gotten a little bit bigger every year, and I've gotten a little bit older. So I think those go hand in hand.
Jayson, you've said before, leadership-wise, you're just going to be who you are. You're not going to try to be more vocal. Do you need to be more vocal with Marcus gone and Grant, obviously 2 vocal guys? Do you need to be the leader of this team? And how much pressure do you feel now that Drew's here, that it's championship or bust over the next year or 2, that's kind of completes your mission?
Yeah, my voice, my presence is felt. And during the games, huddles, locker room, practice, film, I speak up. Everybody may not see it. It may not be the loudest. But, I speak my mind. I listen to guys, and, guys listen to me. So it's a mutual respect thing. And is it pressure? Yeah. I mean, we got a really good team. We got really good players. People expect us to get to the championship and win, and we don't. We didn't necessarily meet expectations. It's a handful of teams each year that, realistically can probably win the championship, and we're in that mix. So, that's what we're aiming for, and that's what we should be aiming for.
JT, in these last few years since you've established yourself as like an all-star, Brad has made like trades kind of around the core, but it hasn't really blown up the core. And then this summer he's made 2 huge trades. So I guess for you, what has it been like seeing kind of how big of an overhaul there's been to the roster?
It's been quite the change. A lot of new faces, a lot of new coaches. But, I think, we brought in good guys, guys that, great people, great teammates, obviously talented in their own right, in their own position. And I think just surrounding guys that fit with each other, that complement each other, and all have the same goal in common, and try to win. And I think, they've done a really good job of that, and I'm excited about the team that we have.
Jayson, you lost Rob and Grant, so there's a little bit of you're a little thin in the front court. You lost Smart and Brogdon, obviously getting Drew, but there's still a little thin in the backcourt. You're obviously an all-NBA player, so you do a lot. But do you feel pressure that you're going to have to do a little bit more? You're the biggest guy on the team. Do you need to do more on the rebounding side, even more? Do you need to do more ball handling? Do you need to spread yourself out even more this season?
Yeah, but that's, we should all feel like we got to do a little bit more because we didn't win, right? So whatever we've done has been great, but it hasn't been enough. So for myself on down the line, everybody has to sacrifice or be willing to do more, whether it's going from 8 rebounds a game to 11, whatever it is. You know, we all got to be willing to do more because we haven't, you know, accomplished what we're trying to do. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to doing more, and so should everybody else.
Final 2 questions, back to the room, and then Abby.
Jason, there's a lot of collective playoff experience in the locker room over the course of the last 5, 6, 7 years. How valuable is championship experience that gets tossed into the locker room now with the addition of Drew?
I think it's very important. I'm certain that we can learn a lot from Drew, being on a team that, you know, won a championship and that had to face a lot of adversity. You know, I remember Giannis got hurt in the playoffs. They were down 0-2 in the finals and came back and won. So I'm certain there's a lot that, you know, we can learn from Drew. You know, on the court, stuff that they had to overcome and off the court. So, you know, looking forward to, you know, having him on this team, what he brings, you know, as a player and as a person.
I have 2, I'm sorry. You've been talking about it, but is there an even greater sense of urgency? Do you feel like after all the changes and everything that has gone on this summer, and I know that the goal is always to win a championship, but does it feel that there's another level this season?
Yeah. It was at a 10 out of 10 last year. It's on a 10 out of 10 this year. It's what we're trying to do. And we all feel that way.
And then have you seen any differences in Joe from year 1 to year 2 as we go in?
I feel like he's just a little bit more comfortable, right? You know, this time last year was new for all of us, and I think Joe did a hell of a job, you know, managing all of that, managing the expectations, managing being in a new role so quick. He had a hell of a first year, you know, in my eyes. And I think now having time to prepare properly as a head coach for the upcoming season, and, you know, taking ownership of, you know, this being his team and him being the head coach. You know, I think he's, I'm not saying he wasn't comfortable. I just feel like he's a lot more comfortable and confident, you know, heading into this year.